Good afternoon. We welcome you to this session. My name is Magali Hernandez and we are from Education USA, Mexico City. Can we continue to the next slide, please? Hello. So we would like to begin this session by saying Happy International Education Week. This week we celebrate the benefits of international education and exchange worldwide. This joint initiative of the USA Department of State and the USA Department of Education is part of our efforts to promote programs that prepare you for global environment and also to attract future leaders from abroad to study, learn, and exchange experience. So welcome. We are very glad to be celebrating and starting the week with this showcase, and we are going to have an excellent workshop today. So can we continue, please? Thank you. So today we have 4 different institutions with us. We have California College of Arts, College for Creative Studies, Maryland Institute College of Art, and School of Art Institute of Chicago. So welcome all, and once again, thank you for being part of this showcase and workshop. We're going to start. What is Education USA? Education USA is a global network. We advise students that would like to start their studies in the United States for undergraduate or graduate studies. We provide current information that is comprehensive and that it's most important, valid for you. And all of our services are free. We give access to information about where the universities are, where can you find the best programs that you are looking for, and all of this for free. Next, please. We work with 5 different steps. The first step is research your options. Research your options, we focus mainly in what do you need? What are you looking for? How can we find the best fit for you? We have we represent more than 4,000 universities in the United States. So we are sure that we can help you find the best option for you. The second step is financial studies. We help you and guide you to find the best scholarship that the institution that you are interested can provide. Step number 3, complete your application. We guide and help you through this process, sending your essays, sending your letters of recommendations, preparing for the TOEFL, preparing for ACT or ACT. And sometimes if you are interested in these kinds of fields like art, we also help you and guide you to send your portfolio. That's why we have created this workshop, so you that are interested in this field can have the best tips, the best advice from the experts that are here with us that also can guide you and help you. Step number 4, apply for your visa. We give you information how to apply for your visa, and also we encourage you to do the process with time, and we help you during this process for your interview, how to make an appointment. Okay, and step number 5, prepare for your departure. After we have completed all the 4 steps, we focus on prepare for your departure, because when traveling to the United States, it might be the first time that you are traveling, and we have to prepare and guide you through to the process, to adapt into a new culture, to adapt into a new education system. And overall, this is how we guide and help you so you can start your studies in the United States. Next, please. So I'm very glad that we are going to be starting our workshop. So the floor is all yours. And thank you once again for helping us with this workshop.
Do you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. All right, good. All right, sorry for the little delay there. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much again for joining us today to talk about creating a dynamic art portfolio. We hope that by the end of the presentation, you'll have a better understanding as to what art schools want when it comes to your portfolio. We call ourselves the Art Pod, and we represent, as was mentioned, 4 of the United States top art and design schools: Maryland Institute College of Art, or MICA, California College of the Arts, or CCA, College for Creative Studies, or CCS, and the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, or SAIC. Make sure that there, okay. And you can scan this QR code here, or you can just take down our email addresses if you'd like to reach out to our schools individually. We're going to introduce each of ourselves right now as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Annie Huang. I am the Senior Admissions Counselor for International Admissions at California College of the Arts.
And I am Christopher Corporandi. I am International Admissions Counselor at College for Creative Studies, and I am also adjunct faculty here.
Hi, my name is Reb Green. I'm the Assistant Director of International Admission at the Maryland Institute College of Art, or MICA.
And hello, my name is Trace Krug. I'm Assistant Director of International Admissions at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and I am an alumni of SAIC.
Great. So we are going to get started, but don't worry, we will provide this information and the QR code again at the end. Okay, all right. So before we get started, actually, we'd like to tell you a little bit about ACAD. ACAD, or the Association of Independent Colleges of Art and Design, is a nonprofit consortium of the 36 leading art and design schools in the USA and Canada. And founded in 1991, ACAD's mission is to help strengthen its member colleges individually and collectively, and to inform the public about these colleges and the value of studying art and design. Being recognized by ACAD is a distinction that speaks to a degree of rigor and a fulfillment of the industry's highest standards of excellence and quality. ACAD schools each represent their own unique approaches to training, certainly, but when it comes to seeking out variety, you might want to think twice about attending a school in the US or Canada that is not recognized by ACAD. They often cut corners in the very aspects of your training that make you competitive when you graduate. The other cool thing about ACAD is it offers a portfolio review portal. That's not a formal application to any of the participating colleges, but really it's a special opportunity for informal advice on developing your portfolio so you can put your best foot forward when applying. The portal is open to all students from 9th through 12th grades, as well as college students interested in transferring, and we encourage you to take advantage of their resources.
So now we'll kind of talk about our tips about portfolios. So very generally, a portfolio is a selection of work that you will have made over a period of time, and you'll be compiling it for your applications to ACAD schools. And your portfolio is really used for assessing your progress or your performance as an artist. So your portfolio should demonstrate your creativity, your personality, your abilities, also your engagement with your own work as an artist. You can feel free to use any work that you have created in school and pre-college programs, or anything that you have done independently outside of school. And the portfolio is really one of the most important components of your application to an art school. So your portfolio should really represent your best work, but it should also give us an insight into your artistic journey, your motivation, your inspiration, and it should definitely show us that you're willing to challenge yourself as an artist. So sometimes the pieces in your portfolio, it's not about just how well of a maybe technician you are, or how well you can draw or paint or sculpt, but it's also maybe about what you're choosing to make artwork about that can really reveal a lot about you to us. So in your portfolio submission, most schools will be asking to see 10 to 20 pieces of artwork. So in your portfolio, you should definitely include a hefty dose of your wow pieces. So these are pieces where you're really showing us where you excel as an artist, but you should also maybe think about including a mix of work that shows your range of interests as an artist. You can consider including pieces that represent core skills like drawing, but just pay attention to every school that you're applying to, because every school will have different requirements of how many pieces they want to see in your portfolio and the types of pieces that they want to see in your portfolio. So you'll have to do that homework a little bit and really tailor your portfolios to the schools you're interested in.
So your perspective and point of view is unique, so don't be afraid to showcase that in your portfolio. If there's a subject matter that is important to you, why not address that? As admissions counselors, we look at many portfolios each day. So think about how you can make your portfolio stand out amongst the rest. As mentioned already, we want to get to know you through your work. So when we look at your portfolio, we want to be able to get a picture of who you are as an artist, as well as an insight into your personality. Try digging a little deeper into the ideas you're exploring. There are layers to everything. It doesn't have to be just surface level ideas. And it's okay to show work in progress ideas too, or even the start of a larger series or project. Just remember to let us know in the description box. This is why we often like to see the work that you've created outside of class. It gives us a better depiction of the things you like without having a prompt from a teacher. Showcasing your technical skills can help an artist develop a body of work. Think of a medium you excel in or wish to improve on, and use that as the foundation as you develop your portfolio. Think about how this skill set is communicating your overall concept and idea. We often see a lot of observational drawings and portraits that do show us the student's technical skills, but they don't really tell us much about the student's interest. So my suggestion is to use the technical skills that you've picked up from all the observational drawing practices and apply it to something fun, interesting, or cool. For some pieces, we are interested in seeing the journey from start to finish. It's not necessary to include the working process for every piece. However, when you do, it provides an additional information to the viewer. It gives us insight into your thought process, and it's a great way to engage us further as we follow you through the journey of creating the piece. You can include sketches, 3D models, photographs, or even written work. Make sure you balance it out correctly so that the process work is not taking too much of the limelight from your final piece. Sometimes I'll see a portfolio and one slide has many drawings and models. And in the end, the final piece is just left a tiny space in the corner. So just remember that the process images are only meant to support your final piece and not be the final piece.
After you've compiled your collection of fantastic artworks, you'll need to document them in order to share them with admission counselors. Documenting in the most professional way possible has the power to benefit your work greatly. This means taking great quality photographs with high resolution and enough light, and in the correct orientation and with clean borders and edges. While curating the whole body of work, consider the phrase quality over quantity. Show your strongest work and omit weaker pieces, even if they display more variety. Additionally, practice speaking and writing about your work, asking yourself, how has the idea or piece evolved? Have I explored multiple visual solutions? How has my intent and message been captured? And what should be left open to viewer interpretation? Remember that the admissions teams are reviewing your work digitally through the screen. So be sure to consider appropriate spacing between images, consider the scale of each image, include detail shots, all while placing the pieces in an intentional order that curates a narrative or that visual story of you. Provide us with the necessary context in this way, and also by adding robust explanations in the available description boxes. This is an example of a work of art in SlideRoom. To the right, you're able to see the title, the aspects, and the description, which all help to provide that context. As artists, we are visual storytellers, but it's important to also be able to verbally express about your pieces. It's also important to consider the spacing between each of your images. Each image deserves a space and breathing room around it. It also needs to be big enough for us to really see all of those terrific textures, colors, symbols, and how you have utilized the elements and principles of art in combination with the exploration of concept. Right, so generally you would want to have about one image per slide. Maybe there are some exceptions.
Okay, so we also want you to remember to experiment. We want to make sure that you go through this whole process. You really explore, you see what works for you, because that's how you're find out what materials you enjoy working with, or what processes you're interested in, and how that can aid in the development of your style, or what kind of voice you really want to show within your portfolio. And these are just a few examples here on this slide showing material or digital exploration and how those might tie back into the overarching concept or idea that's shown throughout these students' artwork. Oops, sorry. We also don't want you to forget to have fun, please. When you develop your portfolio, it's about showcasing you as an artist, your original ideas and what you are interested in. So sometimes those GIFs or GIFs that you make and you send to your friends, or other items that you don't use for assignments, those might actually be your strongest works of art because they're unfiltered and they really show us how you're thinking when you're not prompted by an assignment. These are just a few examples here of some of the fun pieces that we really enjoyed in portfolios. All right, and not to kill the fun, but we do want to also share some of the main things to avoid when developing a portfolio. If you are creating artwork that is manga or anime inspired, or is fan art of existing characters or celebrities, like in the upper left here, we really encourage that you not include those in your portfolio when applying for an art school. Even though those pieces can be things that you enjoy creating in your free time, by all means, they're likely not going to be the best pieces to display your skills and your originality. We want to see your creative and original ideas. Then if you enjoy doodling or sketching out ideas when you're in class or at home or out and about, always try and carry around a small sketchbook with you so that it's on clean paper and that it clearly showcases what you've created, rather than getting lost on lined paper like this card drawing does here. Sometimes you want to highlight a portfolio piece that maybe you only have access to via a social media account, like the pieces on the right. If that's the only option for you, just please be sure to always crop it so that the art is the actually only image we see, as if it were uploaded directly from the original file. We're happy to see that this individual's friends liked and commented on the image here, but it also pulls our attention away from the artwork. And then lastly, when documenting your work through photographing it, try to do it from that 90-degree angle. You can see on this slide here, there's an individual who photographed 2 paintings in one scene on a table with lots of distracting elements, and they used a photo filter on top of it. That's definitely not your art. So it's really difficult for us to see also exactly what the artwork is or what the individual is even trying to show within their portfolio. Try to make sure that it is clear without any distractions. We don't want to see your pencils or other materials. It looks like Beverage bottles might be here too. We, like we said, just really want to focus in on that artwork itself. So that is really a general overview of what we're looking for in a portfolio. There will be more nuanced situations regarding specific majors, and we always encourage you to check in with each individual school, and especially if you know where you plan to apply, because their counselors or representatives will really be the best person to ask for recommendations on how to develop the best portfolio for that school. So now we just have a couple of examples that we want to click through. Now, one thing that you'll notice here is it says animation, game design, illustration. I think it's true for all of our schools, and any of you are welcome to dispute me on this, but it doesn't mean that you have to have an animation or game related piece of work for your animation or game portfolio. We just wanted to show you some things. Does anyone have any thoughts on this from the other schools?
Yeah, I will say, well, not all portfolios need to be major specific, as you just said. For animators, game designers, and illustration, a tip might be to explore that role of play and widespread media in our different cultures. I think in this example here, while this slide is kind of packed, and before we recommended to only have about one image per slide, we wanted to show you as many examples as possible. And I do often see in student portfolios, if they are submitting something like a character design piece or a panel from a comic book or a page from a graphic novel, where it would be hard to just use one image or one panel. In that case, that is an exception, and it would be appropriate to include multiple images to give a lot of context, right? So, so especially for if you have an animation or illustration or game design piece showing kind of more than one image.
That's a great point. Thank you.
Okay.
Here we have the architecture one. Again, doesn't have to be major specific. Does anyone want to say anything on architecture? We actually don't have an architecture program at CCS, so I'm not very qualified to speak on this.
Micah does. We do have an architectural design program. It is a multidisciplinary practice. It's about, building a sustainable future. Architecture is a critical art that is intellectually rigorous and integrative and driven by your imagination. AD definitely, it would be great for students to show how they apply 2D and 3D handcrafting skills and digital skills. So that's what's shown in these examples here. And to show any sort of ways on how to integrate history of buildings and architecture, but really that combination between handcrafting and digital.
Great, thanks.
I'll say for SAIC, we also have an architecture program, but none of our portfolio requirements, we don't require any portfolios to be specific to any department, because we do have a foundation year that all students will go through, but architecture students will typically take an introduction to architecture course in their first semester. And if you really wanted to specialize in that department, you wouldn't have to decide that until your spring semester.
Right. And also going back to the not needing to submit any relating to the major that you're applying to. If you submitted these drawings for our illustration major or anything, that might be really cool anyway, you know what I mean? So even if we don't have the architecture, but you've been doing it, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. For CCA as well, we don't have a major specific portfolio requirement. We do have architecture. So sometimes students do want to show that they've already started experimenting with their designs, starting out with observational drawings, looking at architecture around them, and then they start practicing their 3D modeling skills. So it's okay to show that if you're interested in architecture, but you don't have to. So I think that's one thing that we're going to keep pointing out to you, is that we're showing you a lot of examples of the different types of portfolios that we receive from students, just to sort of give you an idea as to what you could include, but it's not a requirement.
Same thing here for fashion. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about that, Reb, or anyone.
I think for students interested in fashion and fiber, again, portfolio does not have to be media specific, but here we're seeing examples of how students are drafting and patterning and working with different materials and using different techniques. So they're showing that they are starting out on paper in the 2D and then bringing it into the 3D realm. So that range is really nice to see.
One thing that I would like to say
Right.
about fashion is that I often see a lot of students sort of cramming the slide with all of their fashion illustrations and then with all of their material experimentation and everything. So what I would say to these students is to choose your best ones. You know, you probably have, I mean, it's great to show that you've definitely been drawing a lot, designing a lot, but choose the ones that you're most proud of showing. So not putting everything, all 20 drawings onto one slide. We can't see it when it's on slide room, everything becomes smaller. So just pick out your best 3 to 5 pieces that will actually be able to see the details more closely.
I think that's a really good piece of advice, because something that like you want to think about as fashion or even like designers is that we're really interested in seeing your best quality work. So like Annie was saying, you may want to choose like what you think is your best design, but you also want to make sure that what you're submitting on the slide room also looks just as visually appealing as any other type of artwork that we would see in different portfolios. So you want to make sure that the entire image that you're submitting to us is really cared for and really done in a nice way and not just showing your different sketches and maybe they're not thrown together in a haphazard way. That's typically what I tell students too.
So great. Actually, if it's okay, I don't know if you have anything to say about this, Reb. But I just wanted to mention CCS has a relatively unique concept design program. And this is definitely one area and one example of, you know, reading through those portfolio requirements carefully, each school having different requirements. And this is one particular area that CCS has a very different protocol and standard for the kind of portfolio that we would want submitted for concept design. Concept design is a sort of an overarching design of the look of an entire, say, feature film, right? Like the Avengers or Fantastic Four, and that includes stuff like as you can see on this slide, environments, hardware like weapons, props, vehicles, the architecture, and the characters, right? And so we normally only require 5 to 12, but for this it's 15 to 20 pieces and has to be for a specific story. So just put that out there.
So do you mean that if students are applying for concept design at CCS, they do have to have a concept design portfolio?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very particular. Yes. Thank you for helping me clarify that.
And then 15 to 20 pieces or slides.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, it's very specific. So you'll want to talk to me. Basically, I will most likely be your admissions counselor. And if you are interested in applying to that, then just make sure that you know the specific requirements of that.
Is it only for concept design?
Only for concept design, yeah. We have, I don't know about the rest of you for your, we do have a minimum drawing requirement for the drawing centric majors like illustration, transportation design, and animation. Do you all have drawing requirements, would you say, for any of your majors or any of your areas?
No. So similar to what SAIC Trace was saying earlier, we also have our first year program, which is similar to a foundation year. So students will come and take drawing classes, then they'll learn 2D, 3D, and 4D design. So just building up their technical skills in the first year.
Great. Excellent.
And we have a couple different degrees. So for our BFA in studio, we don't have any like specific requirements in the portfolio or no drawing requirements. We do have a BFA in writing. So that portfolio is obviously a little bit more focused on your writing samples And then we have a BA in art history and visual studies. So those requirements are also typically asking for writing samples.
Yeah, so just one more time, I think that's all good examples of just ask each of us, right? Like what exactly we require, what am I applying to, and what do you want for that specific thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So did anyone else, I don't mean to cut anyone else off. Does anyone else have anything to say about that? Okay, cool. So that brings us to the end of our portfolio workshop, and we will be moving on to the info session for each college. And then hold your questions for just a little bit longer, and then we will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. So we are going to start with CCA.
Hey, so CCA was founded in 1907 in the San Francisco Bay Area. Our college's creative culture is built around the ideals of interdisciplinary collaboration, sustainability, community engagement, and social equity. We offer 22 undergraduate programs across fine arts, design, architecture, and creative writing. Our newest major is in game arts, and one of our most popular programs is animation. You can also see the STEM designated programs listed with an asterisk. So these programs give students an additional 2 years on your student visa for OPT training. So it allows students to gain more work experience within their field after graduating. We have roughly around 1,600 students in total. Small class sizes are about 13 on average, with an 8-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So this allows students to build up more of a mentorship relationship with their faculty. The majority of our faculty are working professionals, about at least 90% of them are. So they have ties to the various industries that they work in, and it also helps students when it comes to securing internships, as well as getting an insight into what your professional lives will look like after you graduate. Being in San Francisco gives students the chance to engage with a vibrant creative community. 85% of CCA students intern with Bay Area-based companies like Adobe. So they actually have an office next door to us. There's also Levi's, IDEO, Meta, and Google. Many also go on to work at these same companies. We are a residential campus, so first-year students are required to live on campus for their first 2 years. As part of our campus expansion, Founders Hall is our newest residence hall. It was built in 2020, and it's right next door to the main campus building. At CCA, it's important to have an interdisciplinary curriculum. Interdisciplinary is actually one of our favorite words. This means that students are encouraged to take classes that cross over to other programs, so you're not confined to one perspective or one way of making. So for example, if you were an illustration major, you're able to take the character design classes for animation as well. CCA is rated #1 for return on investment by PayScale. This means that the money that you put into your education will come back to you in the form of your salary once you graduate. So 42% of our students are international, coming from countries like Mexico, India, South Korea, China, and Taiwan. We have an International Student Affairs and Programs Office, otherwise known as ISAP, and they assist our international students with understanding federal regulations, such as the visa process. They provide counseling as well as academic coaching, and they also offer cultural programs and events and workshops that help students transition to life in the US.
Great, thank you so much, Annie. I'm going to go ahead and talk about College for Creative Studies. We are here in Detroit, Michigan. It's a 4-year nonprofit offering both bachelor's and master's degrees. CCS was founded over 100 years ago during the arts and crafts movement, and we have about 1,400 students with a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio. We have been named a best value school by both PayScale and Money Magazine. And CCS, we are really proud of being here in Detroit, which is right in the Midwest. For those of you who don't know, it's in the Midwest of the United States. Detroit has a rich history with art and innovation, along with having the #1 concentration of design occupations. Detroit was named the first and currently is the only UNESCO City of Design in the United States. And cities with this designation are all committed to using design as a tool for economic development. And that kind of thinking is something that you'll experience throughout our curriculum: economic development, sustainability, community engagement. There are a million exciting things happening in Detroit right now, not the least of which is its vibrant, mutually supportive, and fiercely independent arts community. CCS has direct entry programs, which means that you will apply. Oh, did I get signed out?
No, you're still there.
I'm still there? Okay, sorry, I got a little notice that I got signed up. Sorry about that. Cancel. X that out. Sorry about that. We have direct entry programs, and that means that you'll apply to the department of your choice with major specific courses starting in the first semester. And that is different from other schools who may have a full foundation year before a major is declared. In the center here, you'll see a list of our undergraduate programs. Our craft and material studies program is quite vigorous due to our history, but right now our most popular majors are animation, game design, and illustration. We also have some unique programs, like we mentioned, such as concept design, where students create those elements used in films, animations, games, basically at creating the entire look of that feature story. Although we were founded as a craft school, to this day we are internationally known for our product design and transportation design programs. Michigan has the #1 concentration of commercial and industrial designers, along with housing the 3 major automotive brands that served as the original bedrock of that motor vehicle industry. And that allows us to have a direct connection with those industries, and oftentimes our faculty are still working in these fields. 6 of our undergraduate programs hold that STEM OPT designation mentioned earlier: communication design, which includes graphic design, product design, transportation design, and all 3 concentrations within entertainment arts. CCS also has an Office of Partnerships, which provides a number of opportunities to connect with industry professionals through internships, industry days, portfolio reviews, and corporate sponsored projects. And offerings like those lead CCS students to an 88% employment rate within a year of graduation overall, with some departments like transportation design offering a 98% employment rate. And let me just talk a little bit about CCS international-wise. We serve currently 128 international students representing 21 countries, 80 students in the BFA programs, and 48 in the graduate. Like all of our cities represented here today, Detroit and the surrounding areas have their own unique mix of cultures. The nearby city of Dearborn, for instance, holds the largest Middle Eastern population in the world outside of the Middle East itself. The town of Hamtramck has a sizable Polish neighborhood. Detroit itself is home to a Latino population, primarily Mexican and Puerto Rican, the same size as its Caucasian population. And that group is especially concentrated in the Delray and Mexican Town neighborhoods. Just one personal favorite, Mexican Town is home to probably the greatest grocery store in the universe. It's called Honeybee Market La Colmena. Even if you don't come to CCS, come and go to this grocery store. The International Student Services Office, or ISSO, they kind of exist to serve the international student community at CCS throughout their academic career and beyond. They assist students with immigration advising, including policy, regulations, procedures for F1 and J1 students. scholars, and CCS alumni. Academic advising they offer for international students in all majors and academic levels. Study abroad and exchange programs. You can go all over the world. You can even sort of volunteer your own idea for a study abroad, and sometimes you can do an independent study wherever you want to go. International peer mentoring program, an international student orientation, and acculturation and local resources support. And there is a CCS, there are a couple of really cool clubs. There's a global student club, and along with ISO, they put together like holiday and really specific cultural events to help you kind of feel a little bit more at home and also share your own traditions. And there's a language club that they just started this year that has been really popular. Everyone's kind of trading and teaching each other their languages. And we also have a really significant like resources for LGBTQIA plus students, and pretty robust accommodations for students with learning disabilities and even emotional disabilities, and other neurodivergences. And just as one quick side note, that's kind of one of the main reasons I feel really welcome here. I'm kind of neurodivergent myself, so I really appreciate the atmosphere it's created here. All right, I'm going to stop talking and let Micah take over. Thanks.
The Maryland Institute College of Art, or MICA, was founded in 1826. MICA is the oldest continuously degree-granting college of art and design in the United States and is consistently ranked among the top 10 colleges of art and design in the nation. Located in Baltimore, Maryland, in the heart of the East Coast Art Corridor, MICA has close proximity to major urban hubs like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City, where MICA students have access to art and culture, as well as abundant professional opportunities. MICA has about 3,500 students in our undergraduate, graduate, and open studies programs, with a 30% international student population coming from 52 different countries. MICA offers 20 studio and liberal arts majors, which you would pursue upon major declaration at the end of MICA's customizable first-year experience, or our foundation program. All of our majors allow you the flexibility to take electives in any other department. You can also select from minors, study abroad programs, and even take courses at any of the other 13 universities and colleges in Baltimore for free, including Johns Hopkins University through the Baltimore Student Exchange Program. MICA's graphic design and animation majors are both STEM designated programs, allowing students to work in the USA for up to 3 years post-graduation. MICA's liberal arts program is as robust as our studio program, where you would have about 1/3 of your courses in the liberal arts, or you can even major or minor in lib arts. MICA alum are world-renowned exhibiting artists and also work at internationally recognized companies like Apple, Google, Nike, Adobe, Disney, and are also frequently featured on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. MICA is also a top producer of Fulbright scholars, and 97% of students are working in their chosen field or have gone on to graduate school within 9 months after graduation. To support the entrepreneurial focus of MICA students and alumni, professional and career development is built into every major. 70% of our students complete at least one internship in their time at MICA. MICA has also developed a minor in creative entrepreneurship, which can be attached to any major, culminating in MICA's annual Upstart Venture Capital competition, where MICA awards up to $100,000 to graduating seniors and alumni to help finance projects and start sustainable businesses. MICA understands the need for financial support and also offers generous 4-year scholarship opportunities for international students that are both merit-based and competitive. So on the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about our Office of International Education. MICA education is all about making connections on campus, in Baltimore, and around the globe. It's about engaging with people from different backgrounds and working with teachers and visiting artists with completely different perspectives on art and design. It's about exploring the world and discovering new insights that will influence your life and your art making. It's also about how your life and your vision can impact your community and even change the world. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and globalization are touchstones at MICA. MICA is committed to its policy of providing equal opportunity regardless of race, color, creed, national origin, religion, gender, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, marital status, age, disability, or veteran status. In addition to our policies, we have a wide range of comprehensive resources for all of our students, with special offerings addressing the unique needs of our international students. The Office of International Education, or OIE, advises on issues ranging from immigration regulations to resources available for accomplishing academic and personal goals. We offer workshops throughout the year to educate and remind international students on their immigration responsibilities, and also to provide opportunities to enhance their academic experiences at MICA and beyond.
So the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, or SAIC for short, was founded in 1866. We are one of the most historically significant, fully accredited private and nonprofit independent schools of art and design in the US. We are currently ranked in the top 2 of art and design schools in the US and number 7 in the world. We are a top producer of Fulbright scholars, and 5 members of our academic community were recently named as Guggenheim Fellows. We have around 4,000 students on our campus, 33% of which are international students representing over 75 different countries. As our name suggests, we are located in the beautiful city of Chicago, which has been ranked as the best big city 6 years in a row by Condé Nast Traveler. SAIC is an urban campus, and we're really located in the downtown area of the city, and the city is a huge extension of our campus. We are also a true museum campus, so one of our most incredible resources is the Art Institute of Chicago, which was started as a teaching collective by SAIC faculty and now holds the 3rd largest collection of art in the world, behind the Louvre and the Metropolitan Museum. All of our students have complete access to the museum, and it is an extension of your classroom. Our museum is literally connected to our 280 building, which is our fine arts building. So you can browse through the contemporary art wing before heading to your painting studio or your foundry class. At SAIC, students have to do about 18 credits of art history, or the equivalent of a minor, and every single class has a museum component as part of it. Speaking of our curriculum, what sets us apart is that we have an interdisciplinary curriculum. So we do not have traditional letter grades, and students do not declare a major at SAIC. This means you can build your own degree and specialize as you see fit across 18 studio and academic departments. We have a small sample of concentration and potential specializations on the screen. We believe that meaning and making are inseparable. So students have to take around 30 credits of liberal arts classes that will provide you with the intellectual backbone that you will need for your art and design practice. As mentioned, we do not have traditional letter grades. Instead, we have a critique-based assessment system. So this mirrors the professional creative world. And faculty often invite professionals from the field to their classes to participate in critiques. So critiques allow you to take risks for your work, to grow, innovate, and even produce artistic failures, which are sometimes and a lot of time just as important in your growth as an artist as any successful projects. As an alumni of the school, what I can really say is that we have the best faculty. So they are world-renowned professionals and experts working in the field that they teach in. They are exhibiting artists, working designers, and active researchers. They are constantly the most aware of how the industry works, as they are actively working in it themselves. And at SAIC, it's less of a professor-student relationship and more of a mentor and mentee relationship. And our faculty to student ratio is 10 to 1. And lastly, over 93% of our alums are employed in creative professions within 9 months of graduation. Our careers and professional experience department, they help students properly prepare for life after art school. And our students have collaborated with companies like Samsung, Bosch, and more while still at SAIC, and have moved on to work at companies like Sotheby's, Vogue, Meta, Ernst & Young, Disney, and many more. So like I said, 33% of SAIC student population is international, and we currently have 75 different countries represented on campus. Mexico represents the 5th largest international student population at SAIC. Belonging and inclusion is the core of SAIC's values, and our international students are an integral part of our community. Our International Affairs Office helps international students from the very beginning of their journey at SAIC through the technical aspects of applying for their student visa. And then they continue to offer support when students are on campus and after they graduate if they decide to continue to stay in the US. We also have multicultural affairs and campus life, both of whom are resources that actively create spaces for multicultural exchange. There are also numerous student groups and opportunities to start new student groups, which will allow you to create your own space within the SAIC community.
Great, thank you so much, Trace. And we just wanted to talk real quickly about the fact that we and a lot of the ACAD schools have pre-college programs. You can really kind of dip your toe in. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of variety across the board, even within a particular school and also across the different schools. So there might be anywhere from 2 to 10-week programs. Depending on the school, you might have a variety of in-person or hybrid or virtual options. You can very often get college credit, particularly at the school that you're just taking the pre-college program. We really encourage you to check out the institution websites for more info on those, or of course, again, reach out to any of us individually. And again, we will share our contact info again at the end.
So when it comes to thinking about funding your education in the US, there are 2 ways that you can think about scholarships, kind of the inside route and the outside route. So the inside route is merit scholarships that are awarded to you by the school. So the good thing about all of our schools is that you don't need to apply or do a separate application to apply for a scholarship from our institutions. As long as you submit a completed application by our application deadlines, we will automatically determine how much money we can offer you to study with us. This is typically based on a full review of your application, but we do put the most emphasis on your portfolio as part of this evaluation process. So this is also why we really recommend that you meet with one of us and kind of, or even like email us with any specific questions you have about your portfolios and your applications to make sure that you're positioning yourself well for a good merit scholarship. And then you are always welcome to look for any outside scholarships to fund your education, because these would just be added on top of the scholarships that we can offer to you. So these are just some places that we recommend that you can start your search for any scholarships that would be applicable to international students.
You're muted, Chris.
Sorry about that. Thank you. I was going to keep going. So what I was saying was we welcome any questions you might have. We encourage you to not be too shy about asking any of them. We promise we won't think it's a dumb question or anything, even if it's something we already talked about. You might just need to hear it again, or even if you think it's something that maybe everyone else thinks there's an obvious question to, you might be surprised. There's probably more people than you think who want to know the answer to that question. And if you can't think of anything, take a look at these frequently asked questions here. They might trigger something you didn't realize you wanted to know. So you can put questions in the chat. It's fine with us if you speak up, but I don't know if there's a particular way we want to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the workshop, and thank you for giving all this helpful information about your institutions. Now, my colleague, Jandy, also an advisor from Education USA Mexico City, will be guiding the questions.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being here today. I did receive a couple of questions on the chat through direct message, and now I'm just gonna read them. And you can decide who wants to answer the questions, because I think they're very interesting questions and they can be applied to the different institutions. So first question is, what order should a portfolio be in?
That's a great question. Chris, do you want to go first or?
I was just gonna say best first, but go ahead. You go ahead.
Yes, no, I totally agree with that. I usually tell students to start strong and to end strong. So they need to keep in mind that, you know, as admissions counselors, we don't have a lot of time to be spending on each application. So if they can wow us with the first piece is usually a good way to have that in mind when putting their portfolio together. And then I also often tell students to think about the portfolio as a book about them. So to think about how each piece, if they're starting with this one, how it relates to the next one and how that relates to the next. So there should be a nice flow between all of the pieces that they're showing.
That's great advice.
Great, thank you. Thank you for answering. One more question. They're asking, when submitting a portfolio, is there a writing component to it?
Depends on the school.
Depends on the school.
Not necessarily for CCS. We don't require one. We're not mad at you if you send in writing. We're interested in who you are, of course. But we don't require that. But I think some of the other schools here do.
Well, the description box is a writing component. So we do encourage them to describe each of the pieces that they're presenting.
Yes.
Was there anything you wanted to add, Reb?
I was going to say the same thing. In that example of the slide room shot, we saw the title and the aspects and the description. Now, some students will take that opportunity to expand and like list all of the materials if it's like a mixed media piece, perhaps. But generally, students really use that space to tell us more about their concept. So it's great for us to, get what we can, look at their artwork from our perspective, kind of generate our own meeting, right? But because this is an application to college and we are trying to get to know you and look at you holistically, it's a really, really great opportunity to just invite us in a little further. So tell us a little bit more about your concept, write about it, go deeper.
And then I'll say for SAIC, we require an artist statement to be submitted along with your portfolio. So the artist statement, kind of like Reb was just saying, is really meant to give us a lot of good context and information about your work as an artist and really about your current work, just to help us kind of get a grasp on what's going on in your portfolio. And oftentimes I'll read the artist statement at the same time that I'm looking at the portfolio, just so I have that in my mind while I'm looking at your artwork.
Great, thank you. I was actually an art major and I'm having flashbacks when doing my art portfolio. Thank you. One more question. Somebody's asking, who reviews my art portfolio? Is it someone from my area of study?
That's a really good question. Not necessarily. Usually first, it'll be us, right? The admissions counselors. And then I don't know, for CCS, I'll review and make a recommendation, and then we'll send it on to the executive director of admissions and the director of enrollment. They'll take another look at it just to sort of do quality control, make sure that we are having a consistent standard across the board. But most of the people here did go to art school and have some background in one of the fields. Does anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah, I would say a lot of admission counselors are art school alums, if probably from the school that they're reviewing for. Actually, I mean, I am a MICA alum and I was also a faculty member. But I think this is an important place to point out that for many art colleges, you are not applying to a specific major. You are applying to the school as a creative, as an innovator. So just to show like how passionate you are about making art, the skills that you have, the ideas that you're working with. So since that is the case, you are applying just to the school as a creative and not to a specific major, then it's not really necessary for someone of your desired place of study to be reviewing your application, right? Because we're looking at you like on a general spectrum, very, very holistically. Yeah, more than just like, is this person going to be, you know, a great animator, right? It's like, just, are they going to be a great artist? And the major comes later.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, and one
Go
quick
ahead.
thing I wanted to add about that, you know, even though we do have you apply to your major, to a specific major, it's the point of that is not to lock you in and pigeonhole you and make you only do one thing. The point is for those students who might be interested in, oh, I really want to get started on the thing that I'm most interested in right away. That's kind of the idea behind it, but it's, you can apply and then, you know, you can change your mind, you can, you can jump majors, whatever you want to do. And then the other thing I wanted to say real quickly is the one exception again for CCS is concept design. All of the students who apply to that are both asked to provide a backup major because it is such a high bar to get in on, but we still might really love your work and want you in. And the other thing is that Tim Flattery, the head of the concept design program, that's one exception where he will personally review all of the concept design applicants. Sorry, so go ahead, thank you.
You're fine. Thank you so much. Very great answers, by the way, very informative. One more question. Sorry. What are some of the main criteria that you take into consideration when reviewing a portfolio?
Anyone else want to take that?
Well,
Go ahead,
think-
Annie.
going to what Reb was saying earlier, we're judging you based on your creativity, on your potential to excel at an art school. So that's kind of the starting point. Do you want to add anything, Reb?
Yeah, I will add. So we showed 2 slides, one more about your technical skill and the other more about developing your concept. So I think to think about all of your work, or as you're making new pieces for your portfolio even, right, or as you're choosing pieces, is to really select based on those quality pieces that are a balance, that are a really great mix of showing off your technical skill, using the technical skills to communicate your idea, right? So this like kind of perfect balance, this perfect marriage of technique and concept. Yeah, that's maybe like the overarching thing that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I feel like would it be true to say that generally we kind of lean towards the originality and the ideas more than the technical skill? Do you feel like that's accurate?
Yeah, I think so, right? Because we also know you are applying to art school, right? So you're not going to be an expert illustrator or an expert sculptor just yet. That's why you're coming to us, right? So can you show us that you have the ideas, the originality, you know, that you need some classes in developing the skill to really communicate your ideas in the best way possible. So absolutely, Chris, thank you.
Yeah. Although on the other hand, if you're a technical master, we not necessarily going to reject you either, right?
Thank you. Somebody's asking in the chat if you can recommend a platform to make their own portfolio.
The best one for that is that Slide Room one. That is something that we all accept portfolios through, and that we all prefer, I think. I think there's a $10 fee, is that right? To go through Slide Room, but it really kind of highlights your work in a really nice way. I'm just looking back to see which slide that's on. Let me see.
Yeah, I think SlideRoom is the platform that we use to view students' portfolios. But to make their portfolio, I would say there isn't really a platform that they have to use in order to make it. We encourage them to work on their images, their slides, take good pictures of their work, and that's basically all they need.
Yeah.
They could use some photo editing software programs like Adobe Photoshop to help, but they don't really need to go to a place specifically to make a portfolio. I'm not sure if that's what they're asking.
Right. Yeah, I think you were looking for something to kind of help you put your portfolio together. And I'm sure, you could use something like Canva, right? Or something like that, but or even a presentation format. But yeah, I really feel like it's kind of making more work for yourself. Like Annie said, just take that picture, upload it to SlideRoom, and you can see here, like it makes it look pretty good, right?
Yeah, I would say that too, because we want to focus on your artwork. So sometimes we do have students that like kind of create like really wild PDFs with their like work and like a lot of different images. That can be really distracting for us. We really like the shot here. We really just want to focus on like a good documentation of your artwork so we're not distracted by anything, and we're really just focusing on what you're actually doing as an artist.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect. Thank you so much. Now we have a few more questions. I think they're a little bit more about each of your institutions and the community of your own institutions. Somebody's asking if there are many faculty members who happen to be also international.
Yes, we actually have another presentation where we talk about our faculty. But yeah, I think we can all say we have definitely some international faculty. We have at CCS, we have two very significant ones I can think of off the top of my head, although I know there are a lot more. Our Aki Choklat, he's a Finnish shoe designer, footwear designer, and he leads the fashion design and fashion apparel and accessories department. There's Kleber Vieira, who is Brazilian, and he is one of the main faculty in the transportation design program, very widely respected transportation designer himself. And then we have Sandra Olave, who is from Spain, who teaches in the interior design program. Those are the few that I can think of off the top of my head. Other schools want to mention theirs?
We do have international faculty members, and we also have over 175 visiting artists, critics, designers, poets, writers, art historians that come to campus. In the past couple of years, this was happening more virtually, but we are inviting them back in person on campus. So that's something really exciting as well. So there are your day-to-day international faculty members for sure. Also teaching interns and graduate interns who are international, who are holding those positions, working on campus in teaching positions in classrooms. And then in addition, these visiting artists who are coming from all over the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, same here. So CCA, as I mentioned earlier, we have 40% international students. So therefore, we also have a wide range of faculty members that do come from a wide variety of countries. Ones that I can think of is Christoph Stieger. He's German. He's the chair of our animation program. We have another faculty member, Niraj. He's from Canada, so he's an award-winning architect. And then Yasmin Darsnik is the chair of our writing and literature program, and she's Persian. I think from, I want to say Iran. And yeah, so I think for all of the colleges here, we all have a wide range of international faculty.
Great, thank you. That is very, I think, appealing to our students to also find other international people on campus. One more question. They're asking, because I know you guys mentioned that some of the places that your students work, but it's a little bit related to that. So once international students finish their studies, do they stay in the US or do they come back to their countries? Do you have any information or comments on that?
That's also a very good question. I would say it's a variety. One of the things we mentioned was the STEM OPT designation. But even without the STEM designation, there is the OPT, which stands for optional practical training. And that enables you to stay as an employee of a company in the country that you're in. US, obviously, in our cases, that enables you to stay for 1 year. For the STEM designated programs, you can stay, this is on your student visa, right? So you stay on your student visa for either 1 year if you're employed by a company. In the STEM designated programs, you get to stay for up to 3 years if you're employed by a company. And that's just on your student visa. And then after that, you might stay. But I think some of our students do stay. Some of our students go back home or to another place. Does anyone else have any insights on that?
I think it really depends. Depends on the student, it depends on the program. Like you said, they either stay in the US on their STEM student visa if they've been able to find employment, or some of them return to their home countries to set up their own businesses. Others go on to pursue masters. So yeah. A
lot of times too, like we'll find that like a certain area, like a certain region of the world will be drawn to like a particular concentration or design. And usually a lot of the times that means that they will have a strong industry in that field. That, you know, one case for us is transportation design, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't, you know, that you're that you have to be in a particular concentration based on where you're from.
Perfect, thank you. And just our last question for you. What are some of the main things that international students bring to your communities?
That's one of the best questions we've gotten so far. Yeah, this is really good. I keep taking the mic, so I'll leave it to others to start that one off. Or not, or I can take it.
No, it's a good question, but a tough question.
Yeah, it is, right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you just like from our president on down, you know, our president just came to us the other day and they said like it is so highly valuable and we are really excited about having international students here. And the more that we can grow the international population, the more excited we are. So I can just tell you, first of all, that we highly value you here. I think that you bring different cultural perspectives. I think that you bring sometimes a different way of looking at things, and sometimes I'll even speak as a teacher here. I had last semester, I had a couple of exchange students. One was from India and one was from Austria. And they changed the way that we talked about what I talk about in my class. I teach acting for film and animation, and we ended up studying this, acting school in India, right? Because they've got such a big film industry, and that's not something that I had really explored, to my own, that's what maybe was my own failing there. But we got to explore like a whole different way of like actor training and talk about that. And I'm sure that carries over to all of the subjects. That's just a couple things. There's also the festivals. We mentioned, we have like the Diwali festival, or we'll have a Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos festival, and we, that just enriches sort of everybody's perspectives and sense of empathy and understanding of the world, which enhances everyone's art as well.
No, I think that was very well said, Chris.
Thanks.
So yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything that you said. Being in San Francisco, it is a very diverse city in itself. So I think it also is around 40%, 30 to 40% international. So I often tell students that it's reflected in the galleries, the museums, in the restaurants, in the food culture. So everything around us has been inspired or has been created from people of other cultures.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like also, Annie, you're one of the most international of the four of us here. You've kind of been all over the place, right? I don't know if you have you had, any experiences or anything that you feel like, I don't mean to make you toot your own horn, although you certainly could, but anything you feel like you've brought to the table that, your perspective?
I think just that, when we're able to meet people from different countries, it just helps us to broaden our own minds.
Mm-hmm.
I think as international admissions counselors, each of us have experienced visiting a new country, visiting a new culture, getting to interact with people from a different country, and it's very different from what we're used to. So yeah, I would say that just it really does help us to become more open-minded. And in a world that we live in now, where there are a lot of political issues sometimes in various countries, where people are fighting against the whole nature of othering people, I think it's important for us to become more open-minded and more accepting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good. We also
Okay.
have, I know on our team, like Trace, on your team, you have Anavi, who was an international student and now is on the admissions team. And so often you'll have some of us working on your behalf have also been through the process, or just students in general, and can sort of, really be helpful in talking to you about that experience as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for giving the presentation, the workshop, and also sharing a little bit more about your institutions and your communities. Thank you so much, Christopher, Trace, Annie, and Rob, for being here today and being interested in connecting with our Mexican audiences and, of course, our Mexico City audiences. I will encourage everyone to please scan the QR code that you see on the screen, take a screenshot. If you are interested in learning more about their schools or having any, or if you have any other questions, make sure to reach out at the emails that you see on screen. We will be also sharing with you this information in the next couple of days, as well as the recording of this session. And before we let you go, as I mentioned earlier, Magali mentioned, we are celebrating International Education Week. We're gonna have a series of events this week. Tomorrow we have an in-person event at the Benjamin Franklin Library, which is what our advising center is. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about internship in STEM undergraduate studies, you can still register to our event. It will take place tomorrow at 4 p.m. and it's in-person event at the Benjamin Franklin Library. We will have a few other representatives from other higher education institutions, so make sure to register. And later, tomorrow as well at 7 p.m., we have another event, but this one takes place online. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more how to have a better professional profile, make sure to register and participate to this session to keep celebrating with us International Education Week, as well as our 200th anniversary of diplomatic relations between US and Mexico. And of course, we invite you to please follow us in social media and also to please visit our official website that you see on screen. And if you have any other questions, make sure to write us at the email that you see on screen, and we will be happy to follow up on your request. And once again, thank you so much, ARPOD, for being here today, and everyone in our audience, advisors and students who were able to join us today. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you'll have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.